All right, so let's get started. So today I'm going to be taking a look, and a couple of announcements. PortraitStudio, which I'll be using today, is on sale. It's currently on sale. There's a summer sale going on. It's at half off. So if you want it, you can get it right now. And the community challenge, where are you? The next community challenge, based off the narratives you guys handed in, will be uploaded very soon. The challenge will be uploaded maybe around August, like the first week of August. So I'll announce it for the 3rd next week. It's just a completely new illustration. If not, if I'm too busy, I might delay it by a month. I'm making no promises for when the next challenge comes up. And that's it for announcements. Let's get started because this is a lot of work to do. So you have a number of issues with this painting, a number of them. But as I lasso, I'm going to try to just cover all of what they are, just, every single one. And I'm just going to, tackle them as I see them. Hello, I am. Hello, I am. Okay, there you go. So now I have 2 mods, thank God. So what we're doing with this piece is, so you have a little palette here, which I'm not, give me a moment, please. Okay, so we've got a little palette here that, I think this was just not an unfinished piece. So I'm just gonna clear it out for the sake of the lasso I'm about to do. So this painting has no light environment. So cross that off the list. No light environment. Meaning that this painting is an object that is not responding to the background or the atmosphere around the object. That's what light environment means. The cumulative, is that the right word? Cumulative culmination of background and object working together and responding to each other. And that's how, you pick the values of each one. The background being bright affects the ambient occlusion in the entire scene, and which just basically means how dark shadows can be, how shadows, certain depth of shadows are emitted based off the light distributing around the entire scene. This is a great lasso today, wow. And then we've got just really, it just looks like bad acting, the gesture. So if you are going to draw character art and you're a person who likes to draw characters, you're into that whole thing, as we all are, you got to be good at acting. It doesn't mean you got to go and take acting classes. It means you got to think about, if you were posing, you were cosplaying or something and you were posing for a camera, it just looks like really bad cosplay pose. Do you know what I'm saying? It doesn't look like a character who is the king of demons right now with a little bit of sex appeal. It doesn't look like a guy who, who puts his jeans on one leg at a time. It looks like a guy who, it looks like a guy who puts his jeans on. It doesn't look like a great demon caped person, character, being. Anything, it doesn't feel like it. It feels like a guy in a costume with fake teeth posing really badly for a cosplay photo on his Facebook. How do we fix that? So we have to start with a gesture. However, it's just based off the limitation so that the before and after can just be colossal so that you guys could see it, but at the same time not be something that you just simply can't do in an hour. But let me try anyway. The pose that I'm seeing in my mind that can remedy all of this is it's an attack pose. I'm gonna try to get rid of his bust because it's too visible and it feels really cheesy for him to stand in such a way where we really don't feel like the character is acting what the actor is not doing what the role or the character is expected to do. So I'm gonna try my absolute best. I'm going to put my best foot forward today. And you're going to have to just bear with me until I do. It's not going to be easy. Let me separate the cape and the rest of the character, just so that I can show you what's happening with the cape. And then once the cape is separated, I could probably mess around a great deal with the gesture. Okay, so I guess I could leave this part of the cape since it's one unit. Lassoing is very tricky. All right. Okay, so I've separated the cape. I'm gonna jump into PortraitStudio and help me because I really do need help with this one. What's PortraitStudio? It's a reference generation engine that we built. It's a software that helps you basically reference anything. And so I'm just gonna use it just to show you really quickly what it is that I'm seeing in my mind and maybe how much better it could be once I see it in an actual figure, because there is that I do have blind spots in my visual library. So here he is bending forward, and this is what I typically want to see with high action fighter characters with any kind of weapon, sword, unless it's a standing character design. This is what I want to see. Lots of action, lots of motion, forward motion, open gestures, meaning that the gesture is something that feels very high energy. It feels like it's taking a lot of energy to perform. And I'm just going to increase the field of view so that the arm feels a little bit bigger. Actually, maybe I'll decrease the field of view for now. And just throw it this way. Actually no, I need to zoom out if I want to pull off what you're doing. And the arm is raised in such a way where it's like extended in front. I'm also going to play a little movie trick and just increase the size of the arm. So they're different sizes, but I'm creating a fake field of view. And I'm going to shrink this leg, which is something that, you know, is valid as long as you stay the camera, the image that you shoot in this platform is the same angle. It's on the same angle you modeled it in. And then I'm just going to try to pull off what you did with the hand. You see, I'm not changing the camera too much because I don't really need to at the moment, but you guys should whenever you have. All right. I'm just gonna raise the hand upward like that. Okay, so what I want to do is I want to show you how the head can actually feel a lot more active if it's just underneath the shoulder line. So you see this line right here? Excuse me, this line right here. I want the shoulder to be something like that, because it'll give us a chance to mess with his eyes a little bit, maybe not completely distort it. So so if we have a little bit of the nose, a little bit of the teeth, you know, with the fangs, and then the eyes, he's really seductive, isn't it? Just anything like that, as long as this shoulder line is intact and the head is underneath the shoulder line. So before you had shoulder line, and then you had neck, and then you had head. You see what I'm saying? When you have a character that has a head that's underneath the shoulder line, it looks like a very active, high energy character. It's jumping forward, lunging forward. A lunge is an athletic move. When you have a character that stands like this with all this space around their shoulders, it just looks like a very basic stick figure stance. It doesn't have a lot going on. It doesn't feel like it's just someone standing. Standing it's not an exertion of energy. So between having a character that looks like they have no exertion of energy and a character that looks like they do, for a swordsman with a sword, which one do you think is the better option? As a character designer, as an artist, be honest with yourself, it's obviously the one that has the most activity to it. So when you're painting something like this and he just looks like a weeb posing with, I'm sorry, but a weeb posing with some cosplay on Facebook, I want your art to have better standards. This is not enough. It doesn't feel like enough. So no offense against weebs, but it just looks a little weeby the way he's standing up, all right? So I'm going to just raise this up. I'm going to think about where the sword is. Maybe I did select the wrist. There we go. I'm going to rotate the elbow just a little bit. And then the head is going to be tilting at the camera, and it's going to go a little bit lower. All right, and then just just for that, you know, that beauty, I'm just gonna lower. Let me turn off the joints, so hide joints. Look at that. And then with a little bit of light, you know, just some extreme light, maybe from below. You know, maybe the shadow could be casting on the face. Ooh la la. Or just, you know, normally from the top. All of that will work. And then I am not only going to do that, I'm actually going to throw in a silhouette as well. You know me. You know I like the silhouettes. So I'm just going to do that. All right. So as you can see, I have a lot of hack and slash to do. So I'm going to try my best. I'm going to keep the reference open, and hopefully I can get into the lighting stage pretty early as I paint. After I correct. Top looks dramatic as fuck because you can't see their eyes. Yeah. I don't know how I got here. Oh, good stuff, Belle. Thank you for popping in anyway. So, so as you can see, I had to separate the arm because I had to resize it. So I'm just going to separate the arm. And I think it's just a good idea to just completely separate the arm. You as well in your recreation of my corrections. By the way, I encourage all of you to correct your stuff as I critique it. There's no reason why your gallery should have old level in it. Always correct your old stuff. Never, don't be that guy that doesn't correct his stuff, all right? Okay, so it's gonna be a very long and difficult journey, but I will do it. So I am going to adjust. Oh dear, I have to disconnect this as well. Okay, so I'm gonna tilt his body forward. I am going to worry about the other leg later. I'm gonna grab this leg. Yeah, I avoided the lasso pretty quickly. I'm gonna throw this leg on top. So I'm seeing like a high, I don't know if you guys are seeing it, but I'm seeing a really high action adjustment to this pose. So I'm sorry, I'm trying to fit everything in my screen. You guys are wondering why the hell I'm not opening Photoshop right away. All the way, sorry. And then I'm just gonna get that thigh again for the other leg. It's okay, it's just the correction. And place it behind and just get that whole gesture started. I'm gonna shrink the bottom so that depth of field is happening, and clean a little bit this way. Still not there yet because there aren't any real perspective shifts at the moment, so still going at it. All right, and then I'm gonna do this, and then I'm gonna grab his sexy torso and just increase all of that. Just try to assist that. And you see, I don't have to make mistakes. I don't have to worry about making mistakes because the model is right here guiding every decision I make. I just have to respect the scale the model has revealed to me. That's a big thing with working with references, is that you guys really don't trust your references at all. You put in so much effort to find references and then you guys just do whatever you want, which is not a very healthy mindset to have, because as you know from many times, and I've talked about it over the years, referencing is the reason. If you don't reference, it's the reason why your drawings suck, the biggest reason, honestly. And if you don't respect your reference, you're really never going to benefit from any of that. You're never just going to get good. And so if you pick a reference, trust it. I'm going to start bloating the arm just so that we can get that depth of field again, a field of view or whatever it's called. And then I'm going to grab that head. So this torso is out of the way now. Grab that head and then just increase its size. And put it somewhere there. I'm just gonna grab the hair, disconnect the hair, and give it some, you know, like some motion. So, oops. I'm just gonna disconnect that. Flip it horizontally. Sorry, I dumbass is outside of my window. And so I want the hair to look like it's completely flying away. It's not just still doing nothing. Maybe I can do it like that. God damn it. What am I doing wrong exactly? Oh, okay, flip vertical. I probably just put it back right where it was. Just there, and then I'm just gonna keep working toward that. I am gonna change where his eyes are looking. Or just for the sake of not having to do more work, I will just select it because I've got a crap ton of surgery to do. Just make him look this way a little bit. Oh man, that's a lot of stuff. Okay. And the reason why I want to go this far is because it's important to see the benefits. It's important to see how much we can get out of this, out of understanding the pose, understanding the narrative, just matching the character's pose with what you've designed. And it's extremely important to sync everything. So I'm gonna grab the cape. I'm gonna end up with 50 layers after this is done. And I'm gonna throw it over the arm, and I'm gonna give the cape a little bit more intensity. So I'm gonna rotate it this way. Just bring in the 1000 degree knife. I'm gonna give the cape a lot of billowing, it's just gonna hit the foreground a little bit. And that tail is looking kind of good too. So this is kind of where I want the cape to land. And oopsie, we're in for some major surgery. Right, so I just want to make it billow a little bit closer to the camera. I'll decide what I'm doing with it in a minute, and then I'm going to need the other arm. This is not the other arm. Is this the other arm? Oh, yeah, it is. And I want to put that in such a way where I get that shoulder, that level down with the shoulder. I wish I could fix everything the way I want to, but unfortunately, I don't have that kind of time. But I will try. So the sleeve is like, and it's running away, and it's all over the place in the background. And all right, we're almost there. You can see it coming together. Oof. And then we're gonna just bring back the rest of the cape, which is all the way in the back. It is a bit of a mess, and I'm only going to take some of the cape and throw it this way. So that background color, muddy is an understatement. Muddy is an understatement when talking about the values you picked here, my friend. Muddy is just, it's not everything. It comes from the fact that you have grayscale, you know, the body shape, the skin is white. You've got extreme red in the horns. It's just all over the place. And then what I'm going to do now is just bring in a really simple background color. I'll mess around with the colors a little bit more. But what I want to do is throw the character in a silhouette. So I won't do that just yet. But the colors I'm going to pick are going to be based off the fact that it's a bright background. So I'm going to have enough saturation for these little My Little Pony horn things that look extremely inappropriate. Maybe you should try redesigning the horn a little bit. So I'm gonna, again, these are your character, you know, your original characters. You guys put a lot of love and care into your original characters. I'm not laughing at your design, but when it comes to how much taste we have, your taste can and will be critiqued. taste can be critiqued. Write that back to me. So that means that you don't necessarily have epic taste. It doesn't necessarily mean that your taste is immune from critique just because your taste is related to something you love. You could love to wear nice clothes. You just have bad taste in clothes, and you're not that bad clothes are a really bad example because, you know, everyone, I don't believe there's bad taste in clothes. Actually I do. But I've seen some horrible choice of clothing. You know what I mean? It's that you can still have a passion for something but suck at it, is basically what I'm trying to say. And though your character, you love them very much, you just picked some made some bad fashion design decisions or character design decisions that are just not working for you. They're not doing your character any favors. It just shows either a lack of expertise in clothing or misunderstanding what certain elements may mean or read as. Usually bad taste is related to low skill level or low experience. So I'm getting kind of a side angle, you know, from my corrections. I'm not really getting the perspective I'm after, so I'm gonna try to push it a little bit more. Bear with me. I'm gonna increase that size, rotate it back this way, shrink it. Oh no, increase it this way and shrink it this way, just to get that thigh shape. And I don't want to give him thunder thighs, but we'll see. I probably didn't make any changes. Filter, liquefy. Let me drag that out. Yeah, it's just the way the hips are positioned that it's just not reading as the front view-ish attack, frontal kind of lunge that I want. It's kind of a side view dodge. Do you see what I'm saying? Like, it looks like he's dodging something. But let's just keep moving forward. So now that I have the majority of the changes done, I could do a before and after at this stage, but I don't want to. So I'm going to bring that, I'm going to throw in a shoulder, and I'm going to tilt the head forward just a bit more and increase the size of the head, since the character is very important that way. And I'm going to fix at least the perspective of the head, which is another really intense surgery process. So yes, I know he's looking deformed by more and more by the minute, but bear with me. I need to change basically where the symmetry line is. So while moving features, I need to, and keep them looking not silly so you guys don't giggle, I have to keep the proportions intact. Alright, so I got the first horizontal line there. And the thing is with male characters is that the eyebrows are really close to the eye. And then I think I'll take off the rest and just replace it there. Oh man, this is one of them big ones, huh? This is the kind of critique hour at the end I'm just like in a sweaty mess. Or I need a nap after. Alright. I'm just cleaning up here. We could do a lot more with that, with those bangs, but let's keep moving forward, boys and girls. Okay. And then just trying to enforce that perspective change and tucking down. Ooh-wee. So it's not as much motion as I would have liked, but it is definitely moving forward. He's way more active. He's jumping around and doing all kinds of stuff. I am now going to merge it all together again, because maybe except for the cape in the background and the cape in the foreground. I'm going to merge the character and try to adjust the whole piece to look like he's kind of lunging forward and shrinking the back a little bit. And maybe increasing his size. Okay, so we're thinking like splash. We're thinking like a splash situation. So the sword is off screen now, so you might want to, let me grab the sword. You might want to reposition the sword in such a way where he's not aiming it that way. Maybe the sword can be aimed upward a little bit. We could also just shrink him entirely again, just so we have more of the character fit in. But I do want him to be a little bit closer to the camera, just because of the effect I'm trying to create, which is a forward lunge. Let me just find the best of both. Okay, so now we get to talk about the light environment. First, I'm just gonna get rid of these little things. Okay. Then I'm going to start affecting the entire piece's light environment to the character. So I'm going to increase this right here. And you don't have to have this kind of background color. Like, I need to decide now, just make a creative choice on what this background color can be doing. I'm just going to make a basic decision here. I don't want it to be white, but at the same time, I don't want it to be that gray. And I just want to show you benefits of all this. I am going to lighten the background cape according to the color I just picked for the background. This is the first real decision that affects the character based off the background. We've chosen a lighter color, a lighter value, and a color that matches the light environment wash color. Same thing with the distant sleeve. I'm going to just do the same. Okay, and then I'm going to darken everything. After I merge everything. So I've created a little bit of depth. I will darken this cape just a little bit for the sake of the depth. And before I merge, let me really quickly show some depth on the leg. So first I have to darken it. And then I have to raise its value. Okay, just so it looks like the character is behind their cape. So just a little bit of depth goes a long way. And then I am finally going to pick an environment color. This is taking very long. Pick an environment color, darken it, and use it all over the portrait. And I might have to re-silhouette everything once again. And then maybe I will bring it in as a color as well, because the colors you picked on the character don't matter when you put them in an illustration. The illustration's colors and the rules of the illustration are what determine whether or not this character's colors come through in their full saturation. It's not a character design splash where you have to show a modeler exactly what colors they are. Okay, and then I'm going to finally merge all of that together, and including the shoulder pad, and I'm just going to do some effects here. And I'm gonna try to keep adjusting some of this so that we have a real, you know, like a real lowering. So this is what I originally sketched that I want, but I think I'm going to lower his head even lower. And it's just going to add to that effect. And all I have is just a mission in my mind for how this is going to look. I have no real idea of the exact result, but I just have an idea of what I'm seeing the character doing, their energy. So all right. I just don't want to mess it up. No, Istebrak, we could easily fix that. Okay, and then I'm gonna do some billowing for the cape. It feels a little bit boring. Maybe I should not have merged it because now we have all of this missing. Okay, and his sleeve is, the sleeve is kind of annoying. We'll keep it there. And then we're going to fix all this and start painting. So for the character, if you want the background dark, you still can, as long as it is a color and an environment that's working for the character. So if you're going to bring in some kind of secondary light source from underneath to reveal him, so you're going to bring in some kind of magical elemental light of some kind underneath the character, you could do that, and have it all reflecting on the character so that we can see some of their design coming through, so we can see a real kind of, you know, something. Or you could just go back to your simple background value decision by keeping it just one singular value and then bringing in that bloom. So before I do that, before I bring in the bloom and kind of complete it, I'm going to work on those shadows. So did my PortraitStudio model have that? All right, so I'm gonna start painting now. No more hack and slash. So I'm gonna pick a bluish value and then just fix this character. The way you painted them doesn't really feel very powerful. They feel like a again, just the person who's cosplaying who doesn't know how to act. Remember, that's what I was trying to say, is that I'm not saying your taste sucks that much. I'm just saying that it was like you were trying to, you know, act through your character and you don't really know how to act. No offense. I'm really not trying to offend your life here, but when you don't know how to act and you paint a character that's supposed to look like a demon, a powerful warrior, these are two intense things. A demon and a warrior, what? And a chosen one, what? And a protagonist, what? And a love interest, what? That is a lot of pressure on a simple artist who's just trying to draw a cool character. If you're going to draw a cool character full of angst, you really have to believe in their story. You can't just throw hard themes. So what are some hard themes? Like beheading or demonic character, warrior person who's, you know, like some kind of grungy ass anime, or what have you. Hard themes need a little bit of seriousness to them, and when you try to pull that off and the character looks like they're not really acting very well, and it just looks cheesy. So that's what I mean by bad acting. And so when you want to paint this stuff and you're not really sure how the heck you're going to go about it, go for the action. Go for the character in motion. You never really get cheesy with a lunge. Athleticism doesn't really look cheesy in a standing around with teeth out bare looks cheesy. But with a character who's fighting and swinging their sword and, you know, whatever, it does not look cheesy. Actually, yes, okay, I'll keep it and then I'll render the arm. Since the arm is in the front, I'm just going to use my normal white background value to bring out some of the form in the arm. Keeping opacity nice and low. So how's everybody doing? Shadow the Hedgehog, edgy Kappa. Make his eyes glow white. Maybe not white. Maybe I won't make them glow white, but I will make them glow in the original color that they were supposed to glow in. Okay, and then so I'm just bringing in a really basic silhouette at the end of the day. Maybe the head's a bit too big now that I look at it. Okay. Yeah, I think that's fine where that is. Don't know why I increased the size of the head. I think I was just still nervous about the depth of field. Okay. And if you want your character to look like they've opened their mouths, it's actually a much more pronounced gesture in the mouth. The mouth needs to be pretty big and needs to take up a great deal of the face. And you need to follow your perspective. And I think you tried to show too much of the teeth. And you're trying to make them look like they're growling, but they just looked a little bit like they had like you know, they were disgusted. If you want it to look like they're growling, the mouth needs to be a lot more expressive. I'm trying to do as much as I can. So basically the mouth is supposed to be going like that, and the teeth and the tongue and the rest of the teeth. So you need a full redraw. I'm going to try not to do that. I'm going to try to just do this for you. And just like keep the mouth open somehow. But not too open. And then, oopsie, I should probably get rid of that. I'm not too worried about the mouth not being high detail, just because it's not going to be visible. And then I'm going to work on the eyes. So the eyes are going to be an exempt from exception from the silhouette, since they have their own personal light source. They are their own personal light source. And I'm going to try to make it all work together. Okay. So it's basically a complete overhaul redraw, like I told you guys. I believe in the original his eyes were yellow. Am I correct, or I think they were yellow? So I'm going to try to just make them glow, but make the color obviously the right one. So color dodge. Okay. Phew. Were they yellow? Yeah. Yeah, the emoji color. What? Were they? Yes? Okay. And I'm going to let some of the light of that kind of seep up and into the forehead area, the lower eyebrow area, sorry. And either intensify the openness of the eye or squint the eyes. It's really up to you, like what kind of character is he. Also, the shadow along the mouth is actually a really cool addition too. It's not really important that we don't have to see his teeth. If you want us to, you could show a little glint, like a tiny little glint. So it's just about, you know, high energy, increasing the energy of the scene, making things look a little bit more intense. I'm going to take the ear and not make it so tucked in, just give it a little bit more of a silhouette this way, which will actually help with the gesture, since it's almost like a line of motion. And then the horns, I don't really have an issue with them anymore now that they're color corrected and a little bit better shape. What's going on? Okay. But this horn could be a bit bigger. So this before and after is going to be gigantic. It's going to be a very different painting both ways. So. All right, I'm almost done. Bear with me. And then I'm going to make a couple more color choices. So I'm going to darken. Remember, this is just me picking a value for the background that is just a little bit more giving. That's something that does a little bit more for the painting. You could go back to your dark value. And again, just to remind you, bring in a secondary light source that will help you. So it could be a darker background value, and you could bring in some nearby, you know, sword, shatter, glow, sparks thing. For me, the reason why I want the silhouette is just because it's a little bit more mysterious. It makes the character look a little bit more mysterious. And I'm going to reposition some of this, and then I'm just going to bring in that focal importance of the eye. So I want to find the old piece just so I can see what the heck. Okay, so the eyes were yellow, but yellow background, but blue eye. Okay. So I like blue, so that's good. I did not save the eye layer like I wanted to, but that's okay. Okay, and oops. And then I'm just gonna do the same thing with this one. Might not even be in the right spot, doesn't matter. Oh, fuck, where? Okay. Holy cannoli, I changed a lot in this piece. I need to just keep it flowing. I might do something different with the eyes. Just because they just look a little bit boring. But let's just keep going. So I'm going to make this eye a little bit more visible with a little bit more definition around it. And do I want, yeah. I put a little specular there. And I'm gonna put a little bit of shadow on the far eye just to show. I'm actually just gonna, just take away that smile because it's really not helping make him feel like a serious character. And then I'm wondering if I should put a squint. Did I lose my pen pressure again? Stupid ass Windows picture view. I'm gonna test it and see if I like it. No, I don't. That's okay. And then I'm just gonna start raising that brightness there. I think the eyes were more blue in the original. So. Oh man, I'm running out of juice. Okay. I just want them to look more demonic and less human. So I'm going to take this away. And this. And I'm just going to do something like that. Because he's like in his, he's like, you know, he's transformed. He's in his berserker mode. So he's not very happy. He's pretty cranky right now. All right, this is as much as I'm gonna do for today because I have done a crap ton of change. I'm gonna use dodge tool, color dodge, and just try to bring in that kind of blue tone. And I want to do something else. I want to do a lot more, but it's just about what time allows. Like I want to give more character to the eyes since they're now the brightest thing. And I want to give the nose a little bit more length. Give the cheeks more strength. And just make him look more dignified. Kind of looks like Dark Link now. I don't know if someone's already mentioned that. To give stronger cheekbones out there, actually. I just want it to look like he's just in this really demonic mode. So maybe the eyes are more open. So sorry, I'm not looking at the chat at the moment. Is everybody still with me? This is a really extensive one. But it's really just about showing you like what goes into it, like in all transparency, just what goes into the process of making these kinds of decisions in an illustration in real time. It's really an educational experience when you just get to see how it all comes together. And it's mostly why you guys avoid doing illustrations of this scale when you do, you know, attempt a masterpiece for the sake of knowing what you're good at, etc. If you guys just stick to these boring character designs, you could be doing so much more, you know, than that. So this is initially what I saw in my mind when I was critiquing it in my mind before Critique Hour started. You can do so much more with the background. You know that I don't have a lot of time to do all that much with the background. I wish I could, you know, it's always something that I wish I could do in the critiques. But because there was no existing background already in the painting, I can't really bring one in. But you can bring in a blurred background, something on fire, a high motion background. I might do some motion blur actually, but I'm just gonna bring in that bloom. It's just a simple, basic bitch background that I go to sometimes. And I'm just gonna increase this. I wish I could add something. I might bring in a photo of something and like blur it. Oops, wrong layer. But it would really need to be a lot more painting because I need to match all the values together once again. What I can do to save some of this is just to bring in an ambient light source. So I'm gonna just use my handy dandy soft brush to pull some of it off. So I'm just gonna, I am gonna bring in that ambient, but it's very, very low. It's nothing extensive. Just something to relieve some of the shadow. So at least we have one extra color going on in here. I'm gonna throw it on the inside of the cape first. And just show where the cape is bending maybe. And then I'm gonna just throw it over everything on the cape. Oh, son of a bitch, I don't even know what I'm doing at the moment with these layer modes. And then just throw a very general haze of ambient light on the front of the cape, just because it caught some of that. And maybe use some ambient light on his face. On his nose, just in small degrees, nothing intense. So what are the biggest changes I made today and why? Some intense changes, bro. Alright, just really illuminating anything that might be facing. His hand could also be a bit bigger. Alright, what's everybody saying? Damn, sorry, can we just appreciate the huge changes directors did with that gorgeous blue lighting, brings it all together. Thank you. That would be crazy. Imagine this boss playing and sucking in the shadows with a glowy eye, waiting for his next attack. I think we are not getting from graduation day critique today. Okay. Like I said, we might, and no corny weeb cosplay pose. Yes, but what does that mean as a fundamental? How do you put it together in fundamental terms? Oh my. And then just cleaning up some of this bloom. Okay, so motion blur, I might duplicate the layer and then filter, blur, motion blur. It's just a quick little thing that you can throw in sometimes to help you create the feeling of movement. The arm definitely might need some. It's actually a very minuscule dressing to add to the painting. Most of your motion blur should be done, you know, while you're painting. But it's there. And then what you do is you sometimes just move the layer of motion blur over, just to show how that motion happened. It's such a small change and really very insignificant. What I would have wanted, you know, ideally, is this kind of motion, moving towards the camera, high energy, adding some sketch, you know, some sketching in some of the elements in the scene. So where's my sketch brush? So the canvas should be a little bit bigger. Oops. Oh my, what happened? Bloop. Okay, so the sketch lines, I would see the motion to be, it's sort of a, okay, maybe, so you'll be a bit bigger, kind of leaning this way. The sword maybe going this way, so there's this downward motion to the sword. The hair is kind of behind him, something like that. The cape is doing something like this, so we have a really cool curve line helping the illustration. And always paint bigger than you're going to crop. A couple of little ripples to the cape, nothing too intense. And then you have all this area here to throw in a secondary light source. And in PortraitStudio, you could assign a second light source to help you. And then his tail could be behind doing something. How does that tail look like? Like that, like a pitchfork, or something. And that's it. And then you crop after or something that looks like this. So this is ideally what I would have wanted this to look like. We had to work with the perspectives of the image as it was. But I hope you understand now. Step one, always plan. All right, how do you plan? You plan around the character, the narrative, with the character's personality you end up with a gesture that works for them the best. You take that gesture, you pose it, you bring it in here, just like I did. You get the pose, sketch over the reference, like I just did right now. It's not, none of this is hypothetical. And then once you have the gesture, and you have the plan somewhere, the narrative is in here. If I can spell, you have an illustration, and from here on you're going to look up references. I'm going to have a leather belt here. I'm going to look up a reference. I'm going to have some flowing fabric here. I'm going to go to Istebrak's amazing channel and look up how to paint fabric. I have some hair here. I'm going to look up a reference because Istebrak doesn't do a lot of hair tutorials. And yeah, so I hope you guys learned something today. So the before and after is going to be a little, it's not even, it's just too big. So before, it's gigantic. It's too big a before and after. The way he's standing, it just looks like you need like a WWE logo right here or something. Completely different. It's just, it's not comparable. So it's too different to compare. And if you are, by the way, throwing in that secondary light source, you need to add it in as a bloom somewhere down here. Maybe it's like the magic of the sword, maybe something like that. Just show where all that is coming from. I suggest you work on the face a little bit more. The smile of the before was just, was not working. But angles equals action, which equals dynamic. Excellent. So here he's filling the canvas. His hair is adding to the motion, the flow. So the cape is all over the place. I mean, it's comparing a standing character to a gesture. It's not that you tried to make him move in the before and it didn't work. It's that he was just standing. So it's not that I'm critiquing your ability to paint a moving character. Obviously, if you had a moving character, you would have added some moving elements. The critique is about your gesture didn't match what you drew. You drew this hard-ass character, you know, this big guy, this big shot with fangs and horns and swords and capes and Count Dracula, basically, but metrosexual. You need to make sure that he has a little bit more epicness in his gesture, a little bit more bigness, you know. Make him look like he's charging at you. Make him look like he's ulting. Make him look like this is a manga image from a book, you know, like it looks like an action scene. It's just my really long way of saying you need an action scene. Anyway, his name's John Cena. Does anyone have any questions? Would you say that the core is get the narrative straight first and then plan your character around the narrative? Absolutely. plan the illustration around the narrative. Yeah, the character is already planned around the narrative. The character is the narrative. But yes, plan the illustration around the narrative, please, so that you can get better illustrations. I want to do more with this piece, but unfortunately I can't, just because where did that bloom go? I think I deleted the bloom layer. Oopsie. Yeah, I did. But yeah, I hope you guys enjoyed today's class. If you guys enjoyed today's class and you want to support, please support me on Patreon. Even if you just join as $1, so it doesn't have to be a big pledge. You can just join as $1. So if everybody in our Reddit community joined as $1, I really wouldn't have any issues keeping the community alive for years and years. So I plan on doing that anyways, but if you want to send support, you can through Patreon. If you just join as $1, there's also $5, $10, and $20 tier. The higher tiers, 10 and 20, get educational material back. The $20 tier gets homework and assignments and due dates and critiques, and brushes and my personal work. So you do get a lot, considering that price. But if you would like to join, please join just as $1. I know the checkout can be annoying, and I know stopping the video and going over to Patreon and doing all that, it might be a little bit annoying, but if you could do that for this channel, if you could do that for me, I'd really appreciate it. $1 is non-existent, but it lasts, and if everybody joins in that amount, we have like an army of support. I really wish you guys could tell everybody that you know who supports my channel about that, so that everybody can get on board. And PortraitStudio that you saw me use to pose, you saw how powerful it is. It is straight up has the ability to turn you into a professional if you know how to reference and organize a little bit better. It's available on my store for half off for the rest of the summer. It's on sale. It is something that, oh, that's me. It is expensive when it's full price, just because of the amount of work that went into it and the amount of time that went into building it. And tiny announcements. I host daily sketch challenges through Instagram. You might want to follow me there. Facebook has made my group into a page, which is weird. I don't know why, and I can't seem to reverse it, but it's good because the outreach is so much better. I was getting 4 likes per post. Now I have 250 overnight, or 300 likes. So something happened where my Facebook group was shut down, sort of, but you know, I wasn't getting any access to my viewers or my followers, but now I do. So if you want to follow me there, I do announce Critique Hour. I do little rundowns and summaries of Critique Hour on Facebook, as well as just make posts that I think are interesting. I know not a lot of you like Facebook, but I am there. And that's it. Thank you everyone for coming. I'll see you guys on Thursday at 5 p.m. Eastern time. Bye guys.